Hey there, I'm Cassandra, and I'm excited to share with you some things that we've been working on this spring.
I'm going to show you our garden.
We were really fortunate when we moved in. There were quite a few perennials in this front garden bed. We just chose to add a few things that came from different family members, as well as some things that were really important to us. So we added a couple of rose bushes, brought some rhubarb up, added different pots, and a few other just really fun things that I'll show you in a few other videos. But this is an herb garden and more of our favorite flowers, some lilies, daylilies, lots of hostas, yarrow, butterfly weed, and Lila's favorite, the lilacs. And up here we had some raised beds that we put in last year. This one is the second year we planted in here. Lots of things coming up there. Beautiful peonies, sedum, and then we have a little greenhouse still over top of this one with some beans and spinach and tomatoes that are started in that one. Of course, you can't ever have enough flowers, so we picked up some flowers and potted those. This is also in our front yard. We kind of reworked this area, some weeding that still needs to happen and lots of wood chips to add, but we were very blessed with a beautiful yard and some wonderful landscaping when we got here, so not a whole lot to do, just a lot to keep up. All right, now we go out my garage and we're going on a little walk. We have a huge garden that my husband put in for me last fall. He started tilling it up, and we've just been enjoying getting to work in that space. But right here in the backyard, you'll see on the other side of this hammock, we have another raised bed. I had actually all three raised beds down here, and we grew wonderful things in those. And we just decided to kind of rework the space and see how we could make things better. Right across here is a raised bed area that was originally here. And then further on, there is a garden space that we actually put in the year after we moved here. And that worked out really, really well. But my husband decided to bless me with a bigger garden. So here we go. We're gonna take a walk. So this is just right in our backyard. And as you can see, there's lots of trees, lots of grass, some what people would call weeds. I call medicinal plants. And then over here we have kind of my kids' play area. And this is just kind of that spot where you stop and you just sit in amazement at the beauty that God can create. But here we go. We're going to pick up speed. You can see we're behind the house. And this pathway, my husband and I, along with our children, actually spent almost a full summer cutting back and ripping out trees and shrubs and just lots of overgrown brush in this area, because we knew that our back lot had a pasture space, but we had never gotten back to it because you just couldn't get back to it without walking an insane distance. So this is what it looks like now at the back, and I'll show you a picture in a second here that is from my husband's deer stand, but his deer stand where he bow hunts is actually just right up there. And this is a picture that he took last fall when we had tarps down to kill off all of the additional grass and weeds that were growing there. So out in the back, we have 4 edible apple trees, 1 crabapple tree, and 1 cherry tree that we planted. And we're really looking forward to those. But this is from the very back corner of the garden, kind of looking towards the house. And I'm going to show you what I've got here. So today I went ahead and I cleaned up an area and I dropped in some wheatberry seeds. So this is hard white wheatberries. And there are 3 rows that I did with that. And then as you walk closer, I've got some other things growing up there as well. Inside, we've got corn that you can see is coming up. I'm kind of only showing you the things that are coming up because this area over here is going to be more corn. I planted Durum wheat here. That's a really good wheat for pasta. And then I've got a few spaces that I put in some watermelon seeds and zucchini. So we're just gonna kind of see if those come up, but nothing happening yet. And here is the cauliflower We've got 4 cauliflower, and then you can see the row of tomatoes, and that goes all the way down to the end of those poles with some marigolds in there as well. Along the fence line, I have all of our onions, so those are coming up along that side. And then we're just gonna kind of sneak back around. So again, there's the cauliflower, and then I have Brussels sprouts because we do love our Brussels sprouts. So we have 4 of those, and then we start the row of peppers. So this row with, where you can see kind of these sticks here, that's peppers, and in the middle is green beans. So we've got onions, tomatoes, green beans, peppers, and then here is a row of zinnia and cosmo to attract some of the bees and the butterflies. Where these red flags are, there's 4 rows of carrot seeds. I have more carrot seed to put down. We just haven't gotten there yet. But then back on this side, this is a row of pinto beans. So those will be beans that we just leave on to dry and then harvest those. And here along next to the tarp is a whole row of sweet peas. All right, on the other side, we've got a row of cucumbers, pickling cucumbers and regular cucumbers. We do make a ton of pickles, so we tried to get a bunch of those in. And then here, another yummy addition, we have yellow beets, and then there are red beets. So we have a total of 6 rows of beets, 3 yellow and 3 red, and then starts the rows of potatoes. And we have 3 different varieties of potatoes. One's a red, one's a yellow, and one is a russet, I believe. I can't quite remember if I planted russets or not. Something was growing in my closet and I threw it in the ground. How about that? Next, we have garlic that we put in last fall that's doing fantastic. And then we have some raspberries there. And then this whole area is strawberries. And we actually just brought out a whole bunch of mulch to put down on those rows. Over here is all the asparagus that we actually just transplanted out last fall, and that came up wonderfully, so that's doing well. And then our favorite, blueberries. We've never grown blueberries before, and all of these plants are doing fantastic. So we're super excited to see how that turns out. And then we have 1 blackberry bush that is propagating itself, and then my kids love sunflowers, so we did a row of sunflowers. And finally, just some water jugs that we use to water some things out here for now. It is pretty wet, so we haven't had to water much, but the strawberries already have their flowers on them, and garden season is upon us. We hope you enjoyed this video. We'll keep updating you.
Thanks for watching us show you our garden.